Heather Wilson was sleeping peacefully in her small apartment on the outskirts of Phoenix. The night was quiet except for the occasional sound of a passing car on the highway nearby. She had been dreaming about her upcoming vacation to the mountains, when a strange blue light began to fill her bedroom. The light grew stronger until it was almost blinding even through her closed eyelids. Heather woke up with a start and sat up in bed. She blinked several times, trying to adjust to the brightness. When her vision cleared, she saw something impossible. A tall woman with skin that seemed to change colors like an opal stood at the foot of her bed. The stranger was at least 7 feet tall, with large almond-shaped eyes that glowed with an inner light. Her body was slender but strong with long, graceful limbs. "Do not be afraid," the tall woman said, though her mouth did not move. The words simply appeared in Heather's mind like her own thoughts. "My name is Azira. I am the queen of the Luminari people. We have traveled very far to find you." Heather pulled her blanket up to her chin. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why me? You have been chosen," Azira replied. Her skin shifted from blue to purple as she moved closer to the bed. "Your genetic pattern is rare. It matches what we need. You must come with me, Heather Wilson. Time is short. How do you know my name?" Heather asked. "We have been studying your planet for many years now." Azira answered. "We know many things about humans, especially those with the genetic markers we seek. You are special, Heather Wilson, more special than you know." The alien queen extended a long-fingered hand toward Heather. "Come with me," she said again. "Our ship is waiting. We will return you, safely. I give you my word." Something in the queen's voice made Heather believe her. Against all logic, she found herself reaching out and taking the offered hand. The moment their skin touched, the bedroom disappeared in a flash of blue light. When Heather could see again, she was standing in a vast circular room with walls that curved up into a dome. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that hummed with energy and changed colors with the movement of light. All around her, alien women similar to Azira but with varying shades of skin moved with purpose. They worked at what appeared to be control stations, though there were no buttons or screens that Heather could recognize. "Welcome to the command center of our ship," Azira said aloud. Her voice in the air had a musical quality with harmonies that no human voice could create. "This is where we monitor space, track our course, and observe your planet." Heather turned in a slow circle, taking in the strange beauty of the alien technology. "Where are all the men?" she asked, noticing that every being in the room appeared female. Azira made a sound like wind chimes. "We have no males," she explained. "The Draxian Empire. Our enemy targeted them in the last Great War. They released a biological weapon that destroyed the male genetic pattern in our species. That was 500 of your Earth years ago. We are the last generation of Luminari, unless we find compatible genetic material to restore our people." Understanding dawned on Heather. "You need human DNA, not just any human DNA," Azira corrected. "We need specific genetic patterns, ones that can merge with our own, without destroying what makes us Luminari. You have such a pattern, Heather Wilson. It is extremely rare. We have found only 23 humans with compatible markers. You are the first we have approached." "Why me first?" Heather asked. "Your pattern is the strongest," Azira said, "the most compatible. If anyone can help us, it is you." Heather looked around at the alien women. They were clearly advanced far beyond human technology. They could have taken what they wanted by force, yet they asked for permission. They showed respect. "What exactly do you need from me?" she asked. Azira gestured to a doorway that opened in the crystal. "Well, follow me," she said. "I will show you." Heather followed the queen through corridors of the same crystal material. The ship was massive yet felt organic somehow. As they walked, Heather saw more luminary women, some working at tasks she could not understand, others carrying objects or conversing in musical tones. All stopped and bowed slightly when Azira passed. They reached a large chamber where several luminari worked around what looked like a pool of glowing liquid. "This is our genetics laboratory," Azira explained. "Here we study, preserve, and attempt to restore our species' genetic future. A luminary with skin that shimmered with blue-green tones approached and bowed deeply to the queen. "This is Lyra, our chief scientist," Azira said. "She will explain the procedure better than I can." Lyra stepped forward. Her eyes were a deeper color than Azira's, almost indigo. "We need only a small sample of your cells," she explained to Heather. "The process is painless. We use a specialized field that collects the sample without physical contact. We cannot and will not take anything without your consent." "What will you do with my cells?" Heather asked. "We will extract the DNA patterns." Lyra replied. "We will then combine them with luminary genetic material to create embryos that carry both human and luminary traits. These will be our new generation. They will be different from pure luminary, but they will carry our essence forward. They will save us from extinction." "And what do I get in return?" Heather asked. Though she was already leaning toward helping these beings, she wanted to know what they offered. Azira stepped forward again. "The Draxians who destroyed our males have discovered your planet," she said. "They see humans as a resource to be harvested. They take compatible species, strip them of useful genetic material, and discard the rest. They will come for Earth soon. Without help, your people have no defense against their technology. We offer protection," Azira continued. "If you help us, we will shield your planet from Draxian detection. We will share limited technological knowledge with your scientists. We will be allies." Heather considered this. The offer seemed genuine. The fear in Azira's voice when she spoke of the Draxians was real. These beings needed help and they offered protection in return. "What if I say no?" she asked. "We return you to your home with no memory of this encounter," Azira replied. "We continue our search, though time grows short. The Draxians draw closer to your solar system each day." Heather looked around the laboratory at the hopeful faces of the alien women. Their entire species faced extinction. Their culture, their knowledge, their very existence would end without help. Something about their plight touched her deeply. "I will help you," she said. Relief washed over Azira's face. "Thank you," she said. The words seemed inadequate for the emotion behind them. "You save an entire civilization today." Lyra guided Heather to stand near the pool of glowing liquid. "Please remain still," she instructed. "This will take only moments." Heather felt a warm, tingling sensation over her entire body. The liquid in the pool began to swirl, changing from blue to purple to gold. A small crystal container near the pool filled. "With a glowing substance, it is done," Lyra announced. "The sample is perfect." "Better than we hoped." Azira approached Heather again. "Now I will show you our home," she said. "You should understand who you are saving." Over the next several hours, Heather was given a tour of the massive ship. She saw living quarters, recreation areas, and gardens where plants from the luminary homeworld grew in carefully maintained environments. She learned that the ship held the last 10,000 luminary in existence in a base, large chamber filled with glowing crystals. Azira showed Heather recordings of the luminary homeworld before the war. Beautiful cities of crystal spires, gardens that floated in the air, oceans filled with creatures that glowed in the darkness. Heather saw luminary art, music, and dance. A culture thousands of years older than human civilization. "This is what we fight to preserve," Azira said as the images faded. "Not just our bodies, but our spirit, our knowledge, our way of seeing the universe." In another chamber, Heather met the youngest luminary children with skin in shades of blue, purple, and green, played in groups supervised by adult luminary. The children stopped their games and stared at Heather with wide, curious eyes. "These are our last," Azira said softly. "Only 117 children remain. The youngest is 50 of your years old. We are a long-lived species, but even we cannot outrun extinction without new births." Heather knelt down to look at the children at their level. "Hello," she said. One brave child stepped forward and touched Heather's hair. "Are you the one who will help us?" The child asked. Her voice was like tiny bells in Heather's mind. "Yes," Heather answered. "I am." The child smiled. Our teachers told us someone would come, she said. They said we should not lose hope. Now I see they were right. After meeting the children, Heather was shown to private quarters aboard the ship. The room was comfortable with furnishings that seemed to grow from the crystal walls themselves. There was a bed shaped like a shallow bowl filled with something that looked like water but felt solid yet yielding beneath her weight. The lighting adjusted to her comfort level when she thought about brightness. Heather sat on the edge of the strange bed trying to process everything she had seen and learned. The Luminari were an ancient species with technology far beyond human understanding. They traveled between stars with ease. They communicated telepathically. They manipulated matter in ways that seemed like magic. And now they needed her help to save their entire civilization. A soft chiming sound indicated someone at her door. "Come in," she called. The door dissolved, revealing Lyra, the chief scientist. "May I enter?" she asked formally. "Yes, please," Heather replied. Lyra stepped into the room and the darted reform behind her. "I wish to thank you personally," she said. Her indigo eyes seemed to glow brighter with emotion. "The sample you provided exceeds our expectations. The genetic compatibility is even stronger than our scans indicated." "What happens?" now Heather asked. "We have begun the process of combining your genetic material with ours," Lyra explained. "The first embryos will develop within days. We will monitor them carefully. If all goes well, we will have our first new generation in one of your Earth months." "So fast," Heather said, surprised. "Our technology allows us to accelerate development without harm." Lyra said, "The children will be born with knowledge already imprinted in their minds. They will know both Luminari history and human culture. They will be a bridge between our peoples. A new beginning for the Luminari. Will they be more human or more Luminari?" Heather asked. "Both and neither," Lyra replied. "They will have qualities of each, but will develop into something new. Their skin will glow but less brightly than ours. They will have telepathic abilities, but perhaps not as strong. They will have human emotional ranges, which we see as an advantage. Our scientists believe they may even develop abilities neither of our species possesses." Heather thought about this. These new beings would be part of her in a way they would carry her DNA forward into the stars. It was both terrifying and wonderful. "How many will there be?" she asked. "If all the embryos develop successfully?" 50, Lyra said. "A small beginning, but enough to save us from extinction. With time and additional compatible human donors, we hope to rebuild our population to sustainable levels." Heather had another question that had been bothering her. "Why did the Draxians target your males? What do they want?" Lyra sat on a chair that formed itself from the wall. Her expression darkened. "The Draxians are collectors," she said. "They believe that genetic material from all species belongs to them. They harvest, destroy, and catalog. They targeted our males because they feared our species. They saw our telepathic abilities and our technology as threats. Their attack was meant to eliminate us slowly, without triggering open war with other advanced civilizations. And now, they found Earth," Heather said. "They have detected your planet, yes." Lyra confirmed. "They recognize humans as having useful genetic potential, particularly your adaptability and emotional capacity. They will not destroy your planet outright. They prefer to harvest specimens, study them, and release a targeted pathogen that appears natural. Their methods are designed to avoid detection by other spacefaring races. How can you protect us from them?" Heather asked. Azira entered the room before Lyra could answer. The door had made no sound to announce her. "We have ways of hiding planets from Draxian sensors," the Queen said. "Our ship can generate a field that bends light and other forms of energy around your solar system. It makes your world invisible to their scanning technology. We can maintain this shield for many of your years. While protected, your scientists can develop their own defenses with our guidance." "But why help us at all?" Heather asked. "You could find compatible donors and leave Earth to its fate." Azira and Lyra exchanged glances. "That is not our way," Azira replied. "The Luminari believe in balance. What is taken must be repaid. You give us our future, we give you yours. Additionally, the children born of your genetic material will be connected to humanity. They would never forgive us if we abandoned their human cousins. Heather was moved by this answer. These beings had a moral code, a sense of fairness, despite their desperate situation. I have another question. Heather said, How? Will I explain my absence at home? I have a job, friends who will notice. In missing time passes differently here. Azira explained, What feels like days to you will be only hours on Earth. When we return you, it will be the same night you left. No one will know you were gone. Unless I tell them, Heather said. That choice is yours. Azira replied, We would prefer discretion, but we will not alter your memories or force your silence. The relationship between our peoples must be based on truth and respect. Heather appreciated this answer. It confirmed her feeling that the Luminari were honorable despite their advanced capabilities. They respected human autonomy. Will I see the children? Heather asked. The ones created with my DNA, if you wish, Azira said. We can bring you back to the ship when they are born. You would be honored among us as a life giver. A sacred role in our culture. Heather nodded. Then another thought occurred to her. Are there others like me on the ship now? Other humans who agreed to help, and currently Lyra answered. We approached you first because your compatibility was highest. We will contact others in sequence. If they agree, they will be brought aboard. If enough agree, we may be able to save not just our species, but our cultural diversity as well. Each human donor will contribute different traits, different potentials to our new generation. Later that night, after Lyra and Azira had left, Heather stood at a viewing panel in her quarters, looking out at the stars. The ship was in orbit. Around Earth now, she could see the blue planet below, surrounded by a faint shimmer. That must be the protective field Azira had mentioned. It was strange to see her home this way, a delicate sphere floating in darkness. She thought about the children that would soon exist because of her. They would be part human, part Luminari. They would carry her genetic heritage into the distant future, long after she was gone. It was a kind of immortality she had never imagined. The door chimed again. Come in, she called. This time it was a Luminari she hadn't met before. This one had skin that shifted between shades of green and blue. Her eyes were slightly different from the others, more rounded, almost human in appearance. I am Naya, she introduced herself. I serve as historian for our people. Queen Azira thought you might have questions about our past, our conflict with the Draxians. The loss of our homeworld. Heather gestured for Naya to sit. I do have questions, she admitted. Many of them. Naya smiled, a gesture that looked practiced, as if she had studied human expressions. Our history is long, she began. The Luminari have existed as a spacefaring civilization for over 20,000 of your years. We evolved on a world with 2 suns and 3 moons. Our natural telepathic abilities developed as a way to find each other across great distances during the long dark seasons when both suns would set together. Naya created a holographic image in the center of the room showing a beautiful planet with crystal cities and floating gardens. This was Luminar, our homeworld, she said. We lived in harmony with our environment. Our technology grew from our connection to the crystalline formations that covered much of our planet. We learned to sing to the crystals to shape them with our thoughts. The image changed, showing another species. These are the Draxians. She continued. They discovered space travel around the same time we did. But where we explored, they conquered. Where we sought knowledge, they sought resources. Where we connected with other species, they dominated. Naya explained that the Draxians had first appeared friendly. They established trade relations with the Luminari. They exchanged knowledge, but over time the Draxians became more demanding. They wanted Luminari crystal technology. They envied the telepathic abilities of the Luminari people. When the Luminari refused to share certain technologies, the Draxians declared war. The conflict lasted for centuries. Neither side could gain a decisive advantage. The Luminari were more advanced but fewer in number. The Draxians were numerous and ruthless. Then came the biological attack. a weapon designed to target only male luminary. Within a single planetary cycle, almost all males were dead. Those who survived were rendered infertile. The Draxians believed this would lead to a slow extinction of the luminary race. The luminary abandoned their homeworld, taking what they could aboard giant ships like the one Heather was on now. They scattered across the galaxy, hiding from Draxian hunters. For 500 years they searched for a solution, a way to restore their species. And now you found us, Heather said. Humans. Yes, Naya replied. Of all the species we have encountered, humans are the closest match to our genetic structure. Despite your physical differences, our basic genetic code is remarkably compatible. It is as if our species were somehow related in the distant past, though our scientists cannot explain how that could be. This revelation stunned Heather. Could humans and Luminari share some ancient connection? Were they distant cousins separated by millions of years of evolution? If successful, what will happen to the hybrid children? Heather asked Will. They stay on the ship. Heather slept deeply that night on the strange fluid bed. The ship maintained a cycle of light and darkness that matched Earth's rotation to keep her biorhythms stable. When she woke, she found fresh clothing waiting for her. The garment was made of a material that felt like silk but changed color subtly to match her skin tone. It fitted perfectly, as if made specifically for her. A soft chime sounded, and a voice that Heather recognized as Lyra's spoke from the air. Heather Wilson, your presence is requested in the embryology chamber if you are agreeable. Yes, Heather replied. I'm ready. The wall of her room dissolved, creating a doorway. A luminary with pale blue skin stood waiting to escort her. The alien bowed slightly. My name is Vela, she said. I will guide you. Heather followed Vela through the crystal corridors of the ship. As they walked, Heather noticed other luminary watching her with obvious curiosity. Some bowed, others made gestures that she assumed were signs of respect. They know who you are and what you have done for us, Vela explained, sensing Heather's thoughts. You are the first life-giver in 5 centuries. You have given our people hope. They arrived at a large chamber where several luminary scientists moved around a central column of light. Within the column, Heather could see small glowing spheres, each about the size of a marble. They pulsed with gentle rhythm. Lyra approached Heather with an expression of joy. The embryos thrive, she announced. 50 viable combinations, all developing perfectly. We did not dare hope for such success. Heather moved closer to the column. Those are. The words failed her as she realized she was looking at her offspring in a sense. Yes. Lyra confirmed. These will be the first of our new generation. Each sphere contains an embryo formed from the combination of your DNA and ours. They are only 3 days old, but already they show signs of both human and luminary traits. Heather reached toward the column. Hesitantly, you may touch the field. Lyra said it will not harm them. Heather placed her hand against the column of light. It felt warm, and she sensed a faint vibration, a rhythm like many tiny heartbeats. The sensation was overwhelming. These were lives that would not exist without her. Each one carried part of her genetic code. They would live for centuries, perhaps thousands of years long after she was gone. Do you feel them? Lyra asked. Heather nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. That is remarkable, Lyra said with excitement. Most luminari would sense them, of course, but we did not expect a human would be able to. You must have latent telepathic potential in your genetic structure. This confirms our theories about compatibility. Heather finally found her voice. What will they look like? They will have characteristics of both species, Lyra explained. Their skin will have luminescence but more subtle than ours. Their eyes will be larger than human, normal but smaller than luminari. They will have 5 fingers like humans, rather than our 6. Their height will likely be between human and luminary average, and their abilities, Heather asked, that we cannot fully predict. Lyra admitted. They will certainly have some telepathic capacity. They may be able to connect with crystal technology as we do. They will likely have human emotional ranges, which we see as beneficial. Luminari emotions are more subtle, less varied, but they may develop unique abilities that neither of our species possesses. The combination of our genetic materials could create unexpected potentials. The door to the chamber opened and Queen Azira entered. All the luminary bowed deeply. The Queen approached Heather and Lyra, her skin shimmering with blues and purples that seemed to indicate pleasure. They are beautiful, Azira said, looking at the embryos. Each one a miracle. Each one hope for our future. The Queen turned to Heather. I have come to show you something important, she said. Something you should understand about the gift you have given us, Azira. Led Heather to another part of the ship. They entered a vast chamber filled with crystal containers. Each container held what appeared to be a complete record of a luminary life. Images, sounds, thoughts, memories, all preserved in crystal. This is our memory hall, Azira explained. Every luminary who has lived and died in the past 500 years has their essence preserved here. Their knowledge, their experiences, their spirit, in a way. Not alive, but not completely gone either. Heather walked slowly. Between the crystal containers there were thousands of them, each glowing with a subtle light, each containing the record of a life lived. Without new generations, Azira continued, this would be all that remained of us. Eventually, even the crystal would degrade, our species would become nothing but dust and forgotten memories. The children you have helped create will learn from these records. They will carry forward not just our genetic material, but our culture, our history, our way of seeing the universe. Heather was moved by the thought. She had not just helped create new lives, she had helped save an entire civilization from oblivion. There is more, Azira said, leading her to another section of the ship. They entered a chamber where several luminari worked at what appeared to be a star map. A three-dimensional projection of the galaxy filled the center of the room with certain stars and planets highlighted. These are the worlds where we believe Draxian hunter ships are currently operating, Azira explained, indicating red points of light scattered throughout the projection. This one, she pointed to a spot not far from Earth's position, is headed toward your solar system. It will arrive in approximately 2 of your years. What will happen? Then Heather asked. Without our intervention, they would begin a survey of your planet. Azira said they would capture specimens, study your genetic diversity, and develop a targeted pathogen. Within 5 of your years, the human population would be reduced. By half within 20 years, humanity would be functionally extinct. Heather felt cold at the casual way Azira described human extinction. How can you stop them? Azira gestured, and the star map changed. Now a blue field surrounded Earth's solar system. This is the protection field we have already begun generating, she explained. It bends light and other forms of energy around your system, making it effectively invisible to Draxian sensors. They will pass by without detecting your planet's existence. And how long can you maintain this field? Heather asked. With our current resources, approximately 50 of your years, Azira replied. But we hope to establish a permanent base in your system, perhaps on your moon or on Mars. From there we could maintain the field indefinitely while sharing limited technology with your scientists to help humanity develop its own defenses. 50 years, Heather thought. That was longer than she would likely live. But what about after that? What about future generations? If reading her thoughts, Azira said, the children created from your genetic material will have a connection to Earth. They will consider humans their cousins. They will not abandon your world to the Draxians. We hope that by the time the protective field must be renewed, our peoples will be true allies working together openly. Heather considered this. The luminary were offering humanity a chance, a reprieve from a threat humans didn't even know existed. And all they asked in return was help saving their species. It seemed like a fair exchange. There is something else you should know, Azira said. The Draxians are not the only threat in the galaxy. There are other species, some friendly, some hostile, some simply different. The universe is vast and filled with life. Most spacefaring civilizations follow codes of non-interference with developing worlds like Earth. But not all. Your planet has been fortunate so far, but as your technology advances, you will draw more attention. You will need allies. The implication was clear. The Luminari were offering not just protection from the Draxians, but a relationship that could help humanity navigate a dangerous galaxy. Later, Heather was taken to another part of the ship where Luminari scientists worked. with crystal technology that Heather could barely comprehend. Azira explained that this was the heart of their protective system, the technology that would shield Earth from detection. The scientists showed Heather how the system worked using models and simplified explanations. She understood little of the technical details but grasped the basic concept. The luminary would position 7 small ships at key points around the solar system. Each would generate a field that bent light and other energy forms, creating a bubble of distorted space around the entire system. From outside the bubble, Earth and its neighboring planets would be invisible. This is the same technology we used to hide from the Draxians after the fall of our homeworld. One scientist explained, "We have perfected it over centuries. Even their most advanced sensors cannot penetrate it." But what about human space exploration? Heather asked. Won't the field interfere with our satellites, our telescopes, our attempts to explore our own system? The scientist smiled. The field is selective, she explained. It allows outgoing signals and vessels to pass through while preventing external detection. We will not hinder human development. Azira added, "Your species is on the verge of becoming truly spacefaring. Within a century, perhaps less. You will have colonies on other worlds in your system. You will develop faster than light travel. Eventually, you will join the community of spacefaring civilizations. We wish to ensure you have that chance." Heather was overwhelmed by all she had learned. She felt small yet significant. She was just one human woman, yet she had become part of something vast, something that spanned the galaxy, something that would continue long after her brief life had ended. On what Heather calculated to be her 4th day aboard the luminary ship, Lyra came to her quarters with exciting news. The embryos were developing faster than expected. They had reached a stage where their genetic structure was stable enough to make predictions about their appearance and abilities. "Would you like to see?" she asked. Heather followed Lyra eagerly to the embryology chamber. The glowing spheres in the central column had grown larger now, each about the size of a tennis ball. Within each sphere, Heather could see a tiny form taking shape. "These 5 will be ready to emerge from the growth chamber in just 2 weeks," Lyra said, pointing to spheres that glowed slightly brighter than the others. "The others will follow. Over the next month, all 50 are developing perfectly." Heather stared in wonder at the tiny beings. They were clearly neither fully human nor fully luminary. Even at this early stage, she could see they had the elongated limbs of the luminary, but with 5 fingers like humans. Their heads were shaped more like human skulls, but larger to accommodate bigger brains. Their skin showed faint patterns of luminescence. Lyra activated a projection device. It created a holographic image of how the children would appear when fully developed. They would stand taller than the average human, but shorter than the luminary. Their skin would glow subtly with colors ranging from pale blue to soft purple to gentle green. Their eyes would be larger than human normal, with irises in shades that humans did not naturally possess. Their features would be a harmonious blend of human and luminary. "They are beautiful," Heather whispered. "Yes," Lyra agreed. "They are perfect. Each one carries unique combinations of traits. No 2 are identical, even though they share the same genetic donors. This diversity will strengthen our new generation." Something occurred to Heather. Will they age like humans? Or like luminary? "Something in between," Lyra said. "Luminary live. For approximately 2,000 of your years. We mature slowly, reaching adulthood at around 100 years. These children will mature faster than pure luminary, but slower than humans. They will likely reach physical maturity at around 30 years and may live for 800 to 1,000 years. The thought was staggering. Heather realized these children would still be alive centuries after she was gone. They would witness the development of human civilization through many generations. They would see humanity reach the stars. Lyra seemed to sense her thoughts. "They will remember you," she said. "That is our way. Life-givers are honored in our histories. These children will know who you were, what you did for our people. They will carry that knowledge forward through the centuries." Heather felt tears forming in her eyes. It was overwhelming to think of these beings carrying her memory through time. "Will I be able to see them after they are born?" she asked. "Of course," Lyra replied. "They Are your children as much as ours? You will always be welcome among us. Later that day, Heather met with other luminary scientists who explained more about the children and their expected abilities. The scientists believed that the hybrids would have stronger telepathic abilities than either humans or luminary alone. The combination of genetic traits had created something unexpected, a new form of neural structure that might allow for enhanced abilities. They will be able to communicate telepathically with each other and with pure luminary, one scientist explained. And perhaps with some humans who have latent telepathic potential like yourself, will they be able to use your crystal technology? Heather asked. Yes, another scientist replied. But they may interact with it differently. Their unique neural structure may allow them to connect with the crystals in ways we cannot predict. They may develop applications we have never imagined. Heather thought about the implications. These children would be bridges between two species. They would understand both human and luminary perspectives. They might develop technologies that neither species could create. A lone Queen Azira joined them later. She had news. The Council of Elders has made a decision, she announced. We will establish a permanent base on your moon. With your permission, of course, we will remain hidden from general human detection, but we would like to make contact with select human governments to establish formal relations. Heather was surprised. Why now, she asked. Wouldn't it be safer to remain completely hidden? Azira nodded. Understanding filled her large eyes. The children have changed everything, she explained. Before, we saw humans as genetic donors, as a means to save our species. Now with these children who are part human, part luminary, we see that our futures are linked. We cannot remain separate. Is that wise? Heather asked. Humans fear what they don't understand. We have a long history of conflict. Some conflict is inevitable, Azira acknowledged. But we believe the benefits outweigh the risks. The Draxians are not the only threat in the galaxy. There are others. Some immediate, some distant. Humanity will need allies. Earth needs protection beyond what we can provide alone. And the children will need both human and luminary influence as they develop. They should know both sides of their heritage. It made sense. Heather realized the creation of these hybrid children had fundamentally changed the relationship between humans and luminary. They were no longer separate species with separate futures. They were now linked in a way that could not be undone. What governments will you contact? Heather asked. We have been observing your global political structures. Azira said we will approach a coalition of nations, not any single government. We believe this will reduce the risk of the technology we share being used for domination. We will be careful. We will move slowly. But we must begin the process. The next day, Heather was invited to attend a ceremony in the Great Hall of the ship. All 10,000 luminari gathered in the vast space. The embryos in their glowing spheres were brought to the center of the hall, placed on a crystal platform that amplified their faint life energy so all could sense them. Azira addressed her people. Today we celebrate new beginnings, she announced. For 500 years we have wandered the stars, last of our kind. Guardians of memory, witnesses to what was now, we look forward. Now we grow again. The Queen gestured for Heather to join her on the raised platform. This human Heather Wilson, first of the life givers, has given us hope. Azira continued, has given us future. The children born of her genetic pattern will carry luminary forward. They will be new kind of people, neither fully luminary nor fully human, but something new, something wonderful. The gathered luminary made sounds like crystal wind chimes, a harmonious music that Heather felt as much as heard. It was their way of expressing joy, gratitude, hope. Then, in a gesture that surprised Heather, Azira knelt before her. The queen of an ancient advanced species knelt before a human woman. The other luminari followed suit, all 10,000 of them kneeling. In respect, from this day forward, Azira said, rising, you, Heather Wilson, are luminary friend. You are family. You will always have place among us. You and all your descendants will be under our protection for as long as stars shine. Heather was overwhelmed. She had come to the ship a stranger. Now she was being honored as family by an entire civilization. She felt humbled by their gratitude, yet proud of what she had helped create. Later there was a celebration, food and drink, that had been specially prepared to be compatible with human biology music that seemed to shimmer in the air. Visual displays of luminary history and art. Heather met many luminari who wanted to express personal thanks. Some showed her images of their lost homeworld, others told stories of their families, their hopes for the future. One elderly luminari. Her skin faded to pale lavender with age, took Heather's hands in hers. "I am Celine," she said. "I am oldest living luminary. I was born on our homeworld before the fall. Remember the crystal forests, the floating gardens, the cities that sang with light. I never thought I would see new generation. I thought I would die last of my kind. You have given me reason to continue. You have given me hope to see new beginning." Heather felt tears on her cheeks. She had not fully understood until that moment what her decision had meant to these people. She had saved not just lives, but an entire civilization, a culture, thousands of years old knowledge and art and music that would have been lost forever. That night in her quarters, Heather stood at the viewing portal looking down at Earth. The blue planet seemed both familiar and strange now. She was still human, still connected to that world, but she had become something more as well. She was now part of a larger community. She had family among the stars. She thought about the children growing in their crystal spheres. They would be born soon. They would open their eyes on a universe their human ancestors had only dreamed about. They would have abilities humans had thought impossible. They would live to see humanity reach the stars. They would help guide Earth through dangers it did not yet know existed, in helping the Luminari. She had also helped humanity, though most humans would never know it. She had given Earth powerful allies protection against threats beyond human understanding, and she had created bridge between species, children who would understand both human and luminary perspectives, children who might help both species grow beyond what they had been. A soft chime indicated someone at her door. "Enter," she called. It was Azira. The queen looked tired but happy. "The ceremonies today were meaningful," she said. "I hope they did not overwhelm you." Heather smiled. "They were beautiful," she replied. "I am honored beyond words." Heather was stunned by Azira's offer. "Ambassador," she repeated. "How would that work? I have a life on Earth. A job, friends. You would not have to abandon your Earth life." Azira explained. "We can create technology that would allow you to communicate with us from your home. We would bring you to the ship regularly to spend time with the children as they develop. For important meetings with human governments, you would travel with us. You would be bridge between worlds." It was tempting, Heather thought, to be part of something so important, to help shape the relationship between humanity and an advanced alien civilization, to watch the hybrid children grow and develop, to see humanity take its first steps into a larger community of intelligent species. "I would need time to think about it," she said. "Of course," Azira replied. "There is no hurry. You have already given us more than we could have hoped. For now, I have something else to show you, something few humans have ever seen." Azira led Heather to a part of the ship she had not visited before. They entered a small chamber with a single crystal platform in the center. "Stand here," the queen instructed. When Heather stepped onto the platform, the chamber disappeared. Around her stretched the vastness of space, but she could see it in ways human eyes never could. She could perceive radiation spectrum's energy fields, the subtle gravitational pulls between celestial bodies. She could see the protective field the Luminari had created around Earth, shimmering like a soap bubble enclosing the entire solar system. "This is how we see the universe," Azira said, her voice somehow part of the experience. "We are showing you through our technology." Heather gasped as the perspective shifted. Now she was looking at a distant star system. 3 planets orbited a red sun. One was clearly inhabited. Structures covered much of its surface. Some she recognized as cities, others were strange, unfamiliar. "This is the nearest Draxian colony world," Azira explained. "They are not like us. They do not blend with their environment. They reshape worlds to suit themselves." The view changed again. Now Heather saw massive ships moving between worlds, each larger than the largest human cities, each a world unto itself. "These are the harvester fleets," Azira continued. They search for worlds with useful genetic material. They take what they want and leave devastation. They have destroyed thousands of developing civilizations, species that will never reach their potential, species that might have become something wonderful. Heather felt a chill as she understood the scale of the threat. The Draxians were not just a danger to the Luminari. They were a danger to all life that did not conform to their vision of the universe. The view shifted once more. Now she saw hundreds of worlds scattered throughout the galaxy. Each glowed with a different light. Each was home to intelligent life, some with technology far beyond human understanding, others just beginning to explore their own solar systems. The community of worlds, Azira said, some allied, some neutral, some in conflict, but all following certain principles of non-interference with developing species. Humanity is not ready to join this community. Not yet, but soon within a few of your generations. You will need to understand what awaits you. The wonders and the dangers. The experience ended. Heather found herself back in the small chamber with Azira. She felt changed by what she had seen. The universe was vaster, more complex, more filled with life than she had ever imagined, and humanity was just one small part of it. A young species taking its first steps into a dangerous yet wonderful cosmos. I understand better now, she said, why you need an ambassador. Someone who can help prepare humanity. Yes, Azira replied. The children will help. They will understand both perspectives, but they will not be born human. They will see the universe differently. You would provide the purely human viewpoint that night. Heather could not sleep. Her mind was filled with all she had seen and learned. She thought about the offer to become an ambassador between species. She thought about the children growing in their crystal spheres. She thought about Earth, vulnerable, yet protected, floating in the darkness. She made her decision. The next morning she found Azira in the ship's garden, a beautiful space filled with plants from the lost Luminari homeworld. Crystal flowers that chimed softly in the recycled air. Trees with luminescent leaves that shifted colors with the movement of air currents. I will accept the position as ambassador, Heather said. Azira's skin rippled with blues and purples expressing joy. I am pleased, she said. You honor us with your acceptance. Heather had conditions. Though she would need to maintain her life on Earth, at least for now, she would need some way to explain her absences when she visited the ship. She would need to understand more about the political structures of the galactic community. She would need training. Azira agreed to everything. We will provide you with a communication device, she said. It will appear to be simple jewelry, but will allow you to contact us at any time. We will create cover stories for your absences. We will teach you what you need to know over the next few days. Heather was given intensive education about the galactic political situation. She learned about the major spacefaring species, their territories, their alliances, their conflicts. She learned about the rules of engagement, the treaties that governed interspecies contact, the protections for developing worlds like Earth. She learned that Earth had been classified as a protected developing world by several of the more powerful species. That designation had shielded humanity from interference for centuries. But that protection was limited. It would not stop the Draxians whose harvesting operations operated outside galactic law. She learned that the Luminari had once been part of an alliance of telepathic species. Species that shared knowledge freely across vast distances. Species that valued connection over conquest. That alliance had fractured during the war with the Draxians. Some had chosen neutrality. Others had sought their own paths. The Luminari had been left to face the Draxians alone. Now, with new hope for their species, the Luminari sought to rebuild those ancient connections, to rejoin the community of worlds, to find their place again. And they wanted humanity to join them eventually. When Earth was ready, finally it was time for Heather to return home. The hybrid embryos were developing well, but would not be born for another 2 weeks. The Luminari would bring her back for the birthing ceremony. Azira escorted Heather to the transport chamber. This will return you to your bedroom, she explained. It will seem as though only a few hours have passed since you left. Heather had so many questions, so many thoughts, so many emotions. How could she return to normal life after all she had experienced? How could she go back to her job, her daily routine, knowing what she now knew about the universe? Azira sensed her concerns. It is difficult, she acknowledged, to walk between worlds, to know what others do not. But remember, you are not alone. Now you are part of something larger. You have family among the stars. Heather nodded, fighting back tears. She had formed connections with the Luminari, particularly with Azira and Lyra. She had come to care deeply about the fate of their species, and she felt a powerful bond with the hybrid children, though they had not yet been born. Before you go, Azira said, there is one more thing. She handed Heather a small crystal pendant on a delicate chain. This will allow you to contact us, she explained. It contains quantum-entangled particles that can transmit information instantaneously across any distance. It cannot be detected by human technology. It will also help us locate you when it is time to bring you back. Heather placed the pendant around her neck. It felt warm against her skin. Almost alive, it will also help you sense the children once they are born. Azira added, you will be able to feel their presence even across the void between worlds. You will know they are well. This gift meant more to Heather than anything else. The thought of being connected to the children, being able to sense them, was deeply moving. I will see you soon, Azira promised. At the berthing, Heather stepped onto the transport platform. A blue light surrounded her. The ship disappeared. She found herself standing in her bedroom. The clock on her nightstand showed that only 4 hours had passed since she had been taken. It was still night. The moon shone through her window, casting silver light across the familiar space. Everything looked the same, yet everything had changed. She was still Heather Wilson, still human, but she was now also a life-giver to a new species, an ambassador between worlds, a bridge between humanity and the stars. She touched the crystal pendant around her neck, feeling its subtle warmth. Its presence reassured her that she had not dreamed the experience, that somewhere above Earth a ship full of alien women waited, that children who carried her genetic material grew in crystal spheres, that she had helped save an ancient civilization from extinction. She looked out her window at the night sky, seeing it with new awareness. Behind the visible stars lay countless worlds, countless civilizations, countless forms of life, and humanity was about to take its first steps into that vast community. In 2 weeks, she would return to the ship. She would witness the birth of the first hybrid children. She would begin her work as ambassador, helping to forge connections between human governments and the Luminari. She would help prepare humanity for the wonders and dangers that awaited among the stars. For now, though she needed rest, she lay down on her bed, which felt strange after the fluid comfort of the Luminari sleeping surface. She closed her eyes, thinking of crystal ships and alien women and children with glowing skin and telepathic abilities.